Hi guys, welcome back. My name is Shayda Campbell, and on this channel I do art tutorials, so make sure to subscribe if you're new here. And today we are doing another episode of watercolor cards, and we're gonna do something a little different today. We're gonna play around a bit with, I guess you could call it abstracted or non-objective card patterns. We're gonna play with watercolors, crayons, paint pens, and just about anything else that you might have in your art kit that you haven't gotten out in a while. It's gonna be really fun, and we're gonna do this sort of on a Mother's Day theme because that's coming up, although I think these cards would be great for just about any occasion. So let's get started. And I just wanted to mention that I made a few digital Mother's Day cards. So if you would like to grab one of mine, all of the channel bonus content is available on my Patreon site. After the video, as usual, all the content is just $2 a month. So we are starting a little different today. Instead of my cards, I have this watercolor sketchbook. I'll link a similar one in the description. And we are just gonna experiment. So I have a couple different size brushes. I'll link some similar brushes as well, but I've just got a whole bunch of different ones. I've got charcoal pencils, I've got crayons, I've got some different colored paint markers. So, and this really isn't about you guys following exactly what supplies I have here. It's about getting some stuff out of the cupboard and just trying it out. So I'm just gonna jump right in, and I wanna experiment in my sketchbook first because that will give me a sort of a guide and a plan for what I'll do on the cards. And you can see I'm playing around with the crayons, laying down some wax, and then I'm going to mix up some peachy colored paint. I want to work in a warm color palette today because Mother's Day, you know, I don't know, peachy, it's May, it's spring, it's mom, so I'm doing very warm. And you can see what I'm getting at here. I'm placing some of this paint just very loosely over top of the wax. And so the wax will always come through. And you can create some really fun abstracty type pattern work. And look what happens when I place the watercolor over the white crayon that I laid down. I just did a very nothing design, like scribbles basically, but it looks cool. And the paint, just let it lie there. It'll sort of settle in between the wax, and you can get some really fun, some fun texture, I guess, and color. You can see here I'm doing a gray on gray. I did some more white patterns with the dots there. It's just really simple. I'm going for polka dots and lines and scribbles. So I'm trying not to overthink it. And yeah, I think I'll probably still end up working a little bit with the shapes of leaves and flowers because you guys know that's what I'm drawn to. But I'm really trying to push myself out of my comfort zone and kind of be a bit more childish. So that's what my sketchbook page looks like. I have to let it dry for a little bit. So wax first, then watercolor, and then now that it is dry, haha, the magic of YouTube, I'm gonna go in with my paint pens. And you know, I could do a little hand lettering. This is where I'll probably get a little less abstract, and I might do some leaves and flowers and of course lettering, you know, write mom, but I can still rely on those abstracted patterns as well. So if I want to lay down dots or lines, or here I'll do sort of a chevron, some arrows. It's just, you know, whatever pops into my head, I'm just trying it. And I think that's the beauty of doing the sketchbook piece first, is that you're not trying to make a perfect, beautiful card for mom, you're just playing around. Then you can kind of look at it and say, okay, what do I like here? What do I love? For me, I'm really loving the white crayon. I like that white paint pen. Ugh, I'm so boring. I'm always drawn to white neutrals. Okay, moving on. I've taped 3 pieces of watercolor paper in place. I've cut my watercolor paper down to a 4x6 so it'll fit on top of a blank card. What I do is anytime I do a large piece, I save all the offcuts, and I find there's often pieces that can be cut to 4x6, the size of the card. So that's what I've done here. And then I've just taped them in place with washi tape or paper tape. Painter's tape, like the type you use for your walls, is also great for taping your watercolor watercolor paper in place. Then I've got my white crayon, and I'm gonna start having fun and playing around again. Now I sort of know what I wanna do, but I'm still experimenting. So with this first one, I'm doing those white sort of dots with this beautiful caramel watercolor paint. So yeah, I'm liking that. I'm using my Koi watercolor set from Sakura today. I'll link that in the description below as well. And I'm just trying to be free and not overthink it too much, and let that paint sort of settle dark in some areas and a little lighter in others. And I love the way the wax is coming through. Now for the next one, I have laid down some white wax, and I've tried my best to do kind of a botanical pattern. And so you can see that coming through here, and I'm using this really warm peachy rose color that I think is perfect for mom. And yeah, this is fun. This is like being a little kid, just watching the pattern emerge. You really don't know what it looks like. You can kind of see the white crayon on the white paper if you angle your head a little depending on the light, but for the most part it's a surprise. For the very last one, I'm going to lay down a brown sun. And then I'm also going to use some white crayon here as well for the rays of the sun to get some nice contrast. So I'm just trying to be careful and sort of edge that white crayon up against the brown. Then I've got this really warm purpley gray, violet gray we'll call it, and I'm going to put that on the upper part of the card here. I'm just sort of loosely adding some of this paint. You can see I've mixed quite a bit of that rosy pink into my gray, so I'll allow the color to get a little rosier towards the top of the card. But this is by no means an instruction on what you should do. I really hope that you'll sort of follow along, play around in your sketchbook, decide what you come up with that's so great, and then make that for mom, because these really do look, I think, quite sophisticated. I don't know, they're either really sophisticated or really childish, right? You tell me. So now that these have dried, I'm gonna go in with the paint pen. And for this botanical one, I just kind of want to follow the botanical lines, the lines of the leaf that I already laid down, but maybe offset it slightly so that you can still see the white. And I'm just sort of, I don't know, trying things. I actually found it a little bit hard to experiment on camera. So I'm probably gonna revisit this just in my spare time and try again without a camera in between me and the page. I'm using the gold paint pen here. The paint pens, if you feel like they are jamming, get it off of your work because it will unjam on your work. So be careful about that, but that one's still good. It's still cool. And for this one here, I have this nice sort of backdrop of pattern, and then I will do a simple silhouetted drawing in sort of the foreground. You know, you're always gonna do what you love. I love botanical shapes. They're just so simple and fun to do, and they always look pretty. So that's what I'm drawn to. But again, maybe I'll experiment more off camera, because I did find it a little hard to like really let myself go. And I think that's what this project really needs. I'm finishing my 3 cards by layering yet more crayon. Not too happy with the way that mum turned out on the first one, but whatever. Yeah, and then I will put these watercolor papers onto blank greeting cards. So that's how I do it. Just get a pack of blank greeting cards. I'll link something similar in the description, and you'll have some beautiful cards for mom. Thank you guys so much for watching today. I hope you have a wonderful Mother's Day next weekend, and I will see you soon with a new tutorial.